What's up? Does
Retro TV, your home for classic television. The greatest shows in history are here for you to enjoy. Join Cosby and Culp as secret agent men in I Spy. Ride along the Ponderosa with the Cartwrights in Bonanza. Hit the beat with Joe Friday in Dragnet. And that's not all. Retro TV offers endless fun and excitement for the whole family to enjoy. Retro TV, the best in classic television.
You can find Retro TV on over-the-air channel 13.4.
Hi, I'm John Malice. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Today we're talking about terrorism. Our expert will be in the house to talk about the latest developments over the weekend and much more. Second half of the program, Steve Brandau, the city councilman, will be in the house talking about water rates and why he changed his vote and will change his vote on Thursday. Hey, 436 MeTV option 11. Back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Glad to be back here on the program on a Monday morning as we start the week, and we're talking about terrorism once again. But first, my friends, I want to remind you that we're on Comcast Channel 187 as we are each and every day. We're live here on the set of Ventura TV, and we're live on 43.6 and now 13.1. And then later in the day, you can catch all the replays. Hey, your favorite stations, 13.6 and 4.6 at 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock tonight. That would be U2 and Biz TV. And now, as I try to catch up on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter once I catch up at John Mallows, MeTV. I also want to talk about the fact that our second half of the program, we are going to be talking about water rates, and Steve Brandau is going to be in the house talking about why he apparently is going to change his mind now due to this loan from the state. He'll change his vote on Thursday from, abstaining to, I guess, voting in favor of this latest water rates hike here in the city of Fresno. Let's put up the picture of Mark Standriff. We still can't get a hold of him, although he did talk to one of our associate producers, Marcus Burrill. He said he watches the show, is disappointed that we put his picture up on the screen each and every day, saying he doesn't return our phone calls. Hey, 621-8000 if you want to call Mark Standriff, 621-8618 if you want to leave a message. We'll talk to Steve Brandau about that later in our program. But for now, we're going to get to that new terror threat here on the homeland. A video posted online by a Somali group over the weekend threatened to take down the Mall of America in Minnesota. Let's roll the videotape. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And that group is Al-Shabaab. And the video appears to be calling for the attacks on Western malls right here in the U.S., Canada, and Great Britain. The Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota was specifically mentioned in the video. This is the same group which took credit for the deadly attack at a mall in Kenya that killed 67 people 2 years ago. You might recall the new threat, though, has U.S. security officials concerned because Al-Shabaab has recruited dozens of young men from the Minneapolis area. The FBI and Homeland Security are aware of the video, and there is beefed up security at the Mall of America today as we speak. Jay Johnson of Homeland Security says we're in a new phase now. Al-Shabaab is like ISIS. You're looking at video of ISIS right now. And another group, AQAP, never heard of them, but they're Al-Qaeda of the Arabian Peninsula. They are now calling for widespread attacks through the internet, through videos, and other publications. In fact, according to ABC News, ISIS is sending more than 90,000 messages a day through social media. And ABC says that more than 150 Americans have gone overseas to try and hook up with ISIS in the last year or so. Hey, live in our studio right now is this man, Dan Payne. He is our terrorism expert. He is here to educate us and talk to us about ISIS and all these other groups that are trying to attack us. 436-ME-TV, option 11, our terrorism expert in the house today. We're back in a moment. At 20/20 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 20/20 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today. We're back here on the program today talking about ISIS. We're talking about this new group that threatened our mall in America over the weekend, Al-Shabaab, and Dan Payne is here. And so, Dan, this is this is amazing. The threats just keep coming and coming and coming. My question is, are we prepared?
I think we're doing a great job given the resources that we have. The FBI is really been working hard on this. They have obviously a department that is just focused on counterterrorism. You mentioned earlier about the 150 recruits that have gone to Syria or Libya or wherever because they're getting pretty spread. We've had over 100 of them return back to the United States, and they are under the watchful eye of the FBI and local law enforcement authorities, as well as CIA when they're overseas. So we do have a pretty good handle. It's what's getting scary. You mentioned that we're getting over 90,000 messages a day, and that's factuable.
Where did they get that figure from? ABC News, that 90,000
from the FBI as well.
Yeah, State Department.
They're monitoring this, and it's increasing. As of right now, the youngest recruit from the U.S. is 15 years old that has answered one of those recruiting ads and has actually made efforts to go out there. Although the youngest in some of the other countries have been as young as 13 years old. So they're really making an impact on this, and we haven't really, the information from CIA and FBI shows that there isn't any direct correlation to ethnic background or you know, what their status of upbringing was. Did they come from a well-to-do family or not?
I'm just wondering if the mall now, the Mall of America in Minnesota, and I look at some other malls, maybe not specifically here in Fresno, because you're not, if you hit a mall here, you're not going to get a mass of people like you will in Minnesota, New York, perhaps LA. But are those malls around our country, is that a soft spot?
Well, it represents two factions to these groups. One is that it's a large concentration of people at one time, but the other is the demise of our people falling prey to materialism and things like that. So, but I'll tell you one thing that's really ironic about this. Muhammad Atta, who was credited of being the pilot that flew the first aircraft into the World Trade Center, the day before he did this, he was at Walmart shopping and he ate at Pizza Hut. So, you know, was that a, you know, was this a defiance thing, or is this what he wanted to do? You know, so what I'm saying is, are they practicing what they preach? You know,
probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just worried that we're not as prepared as we should be with you know, in protecting our malls, because it's a difficult job to protect a mall.
It is.
It's a, you know, we know that the Super Bowl, the World Series, the NCAA basketball tournament, the NBA Finals, you know, these stadiums have high-tech security. For example, I go to the A's and Giants games. You have to walk through metal detectors.
Right.
Okay, but the malls completely different. It's like
That's right.
walking into a supermarket.
That's right. Absolutely.
Hard to protect.
Right. And there's a high concentration of people at any time in a mall.
Yeah.
So it is a target-rich environment when you look at it from a terrorist point of view. It is. A
Makes
train
me not want to
station.
go to the mall.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. Hey, I want to roll some video of ISIS and how they train their kids and everything and where they get their money. And, you know, we'll talk about the beheadings in just a moment. As we look at this ISIS video, I know you know the guy I'm going to mention now. This guy, Michael Morell, he's a former CIA deputy director. He's a guy that comments, does a lot of commentary for CBS. He says that ISIS is spreading through Egypt, Libya, Algeria, and obviously they're going to keep spreading. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, the last the 21 beheadings that took place just recently were done in Libya. Prior to that, most of them were being handled at the in just right outside Raqqa in Syria in the desert. So now we're having beheadings taking place in Libya. So yeah, it is spreading, and they're getting a great following of people that are committed and dedicated to this cause.
He also says that in order to beat ISIS, you can't do it by the air alone. You need about 50 to 100,000 troops on the ground to defeat this group. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The difference in bombing raids, say in Desert Storm or Iraqi Freedom or Enduring Freedom, you know, Republican Guard, some of these armed forces, they had bases, they had supply depots, they had warehousing, they had places where there was a congregation of people or whatever. ISIS doesn't play that way. You know, you're talking about people, one, that aren't uniformed. Take a look at what's on the monitor now. They're hooded. You know, they're in regular clothing. You don't know what they look like. You don't know where they're living. The saying is the people that are smiling at you in the daytime are the people that are shooting at you at night. So bombing doesn't work unless we're willing to accept large amounts of collateral damage.
Yeah. What about their recruitment now? You mentioned, obviously, at the beginning here, you talked about the more than 100 Americans that have gone over there, have actually come back to the U.S. How is it that they're making contact with ISIS, the people here? I mean, I don't understand. If I wanted to get in contact with ISIS, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
According to the counterterrorism expert for FBI, it starts out with just general chatting on chat lines, on open messages on the internet, and from there it moves into private discussions and private chat lines. So they blanket chat rooms and other means of communication with just a broad barrage of information. And people start to respond, they respond to the responses, and then it moves on to private chat, and then it becomes, we'll provide you with airfare, we'll make it possible for you to come out here. Now, when I said that the FBI and law enforcement are tracking 100 or so people, some of those didn't get out of country. They were trying to get out of country, and they were thwarted. So
take a phone call here.
Sure.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air with Dan Payne. Go ahead.
Dan, let me ask you a question. You know, our troops that are being trained, you know, as far as protecting each other and going out to the field to more, say, going for the bad guy, in ISIS. But other recruitments are they're 12, 13, 14 years old that I see. It would be hard for me, myself, to shoot or see the kids coming out not knowing that they're going to go and kill our own people, our own soldiers, or you know, people of Americans, you know, from the United States that are there, you know, to work or whatever. But are they trained to do that? If you see a kid that maybe has bombs or guns, to shoot them like a sniper? Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
yes.
It would be hard for me.
All right.
It would be, and
I wanted to say that.
That's a great comment and a great question. Even in today's armed forces, we have a lot of people that prior to joining the military, they get ramped up and say, I can't wait, I want to get in uniform and go overseas and you know, get in this war and kill some of these guys, and they can't do it. When they get there, they can't do it. I was watching a show on snipers yesterday on TV, and they were talking to one of the snipers from the Marine Corps who's accredited with a tremendous amount of kills, and he said there was never a time that he couldn't look down his sights or his scope and realize that that was a real person on the other end, and he really had to remember what his purpose, what his mission was in order to accomplish what he was tasked to do.
It's a psychological thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. Dan Payne is here. We're going to talk more about ISIS and this other group, Al-Shabaab, over the weekend, threatening the Mall of America, threatening to create havoc there, of course. 436-MeTV, option 11. Hey, our sponsor today, I'm happy to report, is Dr. Thomas Casagrande of 2020 Optometrics. He's over there at Shaw and Blackstone. Thank you for his sponsorship. We're back in just a moment. At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
The Ballad of Andy and Barney. Andy and Barney were lawmen, bravest you ever did see. Warned every crook in the record book to stay out of Mayberry. They were the law.
Yes, they were the law, and they didn't know fear.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I guess to sum it up, you could say there's 3 reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's Andy, and there's me. And baby makes 3.
Now on MeTV Fresno.
Back here on the show, our sponsor today, Dr. Thomas Casagrande of 2020 Optometrics. Caller, you're on Connect with Me with Dan Payne. Are you there, I hope?
Yes.
Go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay. I think that America should wake up. I mean, a lot of people are really not listening to what their heart is saying, and they should pray to God, Almighty Jehovah, for help against these evil, wicked doers, and that there should be a call throughout all America to stand with arms against these people and not just let the military fight them across in other nations around the world, but that we should stand and carry our arms even in the mall, those that are allowed to, and take these guys out wherever they show their faces.
Okay.
We should not be afraid if we believe in God, Jehovah, God Almighty, in the name of Jesus Christ.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Understanding that that is some of the reason why ISIS is doing what they're doing. The 21 people that were killed in Libya just recently were Christians, and they all had a tattoo on them that identified them as a Christian sect in Egypt called COPT, C-O-P-T.
Yeah.
And some of them hid, some of them were, still asleep, and they were attacked, and it was because of their beliefs in Jesus Christ and all. So, although that's not the main reason for ISIS making the attacks, many will believe that it is a religious deal. But if you talk to some of our senior generals that are dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, they're more convinced it's about power and not so much
and
about
not so much a holy war?
Right, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering why can't we stop this internet stuff, just the way the hackers do, and cut them off, so they don't influence people using that, that internet. And another thing, in Vietnam, they use children to bomb our guys.
Yeah.
These people are doing the same thing
You know, so you have to look at those kids not as a kid, but as a weapon. And so I can understand why, but it's hard to shoot a kid, you know, and and it messes up our guys. And I know several. I'm a Vietnam vet, and I know that a lot of them that did shoot kids, they have problems with PTSD now because of that.
Yeah. Okay.
But the bottom line is, you know, we need to be as bold as they are. We need to be as bold, because that's the only way it's going to stop them.
Thank you very much.
Well, again, that's an easy comment to make. During the break, John and I were talking about the importance of using kids in a lot of these suicide missions and training them to shoot to kill, because they've not really experienced fear to the degree of many of our people, nor do they have the respect for life like somebody who's a little bit older. So it's a lot easier to convince a kid to squeeze a trigger. To them, they can only relate it to a video game where, you know, it's not real on the other side of who they're killing. You know, we can't really stop the internet because these guys are really highly skilled. Their commercials are of Hollywood. You know,
it's like Hollywood production.
Yeah, production. It used to be very simple. They had a green sheet in the background with, you know, some writing on it. Now it's well produced. They have editing. They have everything just like we do. So we're dealing with some high-tech people. My point is, however you try to stop their transmission, they're going to find another way of doing it. They're too knowledgeable in this arena.
In production, yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I want to roll some more videotape of ISIS and two more questions about them, and then we'll move on to the president and money. One, where's their money coming from? And number two, tell us about this Somali group, Al-Shabaab. I haven't heard too much about them. We heard about them 2 years ago. Right. Obviously, everybody did. But where are they getting their money from? How are they being funded? I mean, it's amazing how much money these guys have. I have no idea where they're getting it.
The estimates that we're getting right now is ISIS alone is making over it's a little over $3 million a day from the oil wells that they're getting money from. Right.
Abandoned
well,
oil
they're
wells?
not. Some of them are not abandoned. Iraq is sponsoring ISIS. There's other countries that are sponsoring ISIS. We know that they make at least $96 million a month in revenue. You have the manpower, you have the money, you have the technology that ISIS has. That is a terrible foe for us to come across. And that's what's happening right now. And ISIS now is funding anybody that is willing to jump on their bandwagon. Like I said earlier today, once you get into private conversations with ISIS, they'll pay your way to go to whether it's Libya, Syria, wherever they want to send you.
Unbelievable, Dan. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'm just calling. Your question was how is this being financed? It's being financed by oil. What amazes me is we're all to be paying for it. Our gas prices are low right now, and why? Because we're purchasing that oil.
Yeah, but
it's
they're going back up.
It's the America financing this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, caller.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's one of those commodities that if we want to try to stop it, you know, we're going to have to convince the U.S. to stop driving and to minimize this, and it's not going to happen. We are oblivious to a lot of things that are going on. You could probably walk into most neighborhoods, most households, talk to them about ISIS, and some may know what ISIS is. Most of them are not, you know. Yeah. So we live in a sheltered bubble here in the United States, and we got to thank our armed forces. I know a lot of people say, why did we go to Vietnam? Why did we do this? Why do we? Our purpose is to try to keep the wars off of our soil. If they're going to happen, let's let them happen in Syria. Let's let them happen in Libya. Let's let them happen wherever. But let's keep them out of the U.S. And that's what we're doing. If we weren't doing that, if we decided to do what a lot of the pacifists and some of the people in this country would say, just lay down your arms and everybody else will, it's not going to happen. We would have more destruction in the U.S. than we can fathom.
Hey, got to take a break. We'll come back with Dan Payne. Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 2020 Optometrics, our sponsor today. We're back in just a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Our thank you to Dr. Thomas Casagrande, our sponsor today. And Dan, let me ask you about Al-Shabaab, a little bit about them.
And it will be a little bit because I'm not as spun up on Al-Shabaab.
Okay.
There are a lot of different organizations out there that are popping up.
They're from Somalia?
Right, they are from Somalia.
Okay.
And they're being funded by ISIS as well. So anybody that wants to jump on this bandwagon, once they're a proven entity, and normally it's something of destruction, something of terrorist action that they've done, they're going to gain finance from ISIS, and then they're going to fall under ISIS's control. And again, that's one of their biggest things is power.
All right, the President of the United States has repeatedly said this war against ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab is not about Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. He refuses to label this Islamic extremism or Islamic terrorism. He says we are not at war with Islam. Here's the President of the United States.
Al-Qaeda and ISIL and groups like it are desperate for legitimacy. They try to portray themselves as religious leaders, holy warriors in defense of Islam. That's why ISIL presumes to declare itself the Islamic State. We must never accept the premise that they put forward, because it is a lie. Nor should we grant these terrorists the religious legitimacy that they seek. They are not religious leaders, they're terrorists. When there are no outlets by which people can express their concerns, resentments fester. The risk of instability and extremism grow. So if we're going to prevent people from being susceptible to the false promises of extremism, then the international community has to offer something better. And the United States intends to do its part. We will keep promoting development and growth that is broadly shared so more people can provide for their families. We'll keep leading a global effort against corruption, because the culture of the bribe has to be replaced by good governance that doesn't favor certain groups over others. Countries have to truly invest in the education and skills and job training that our extraordinary young people need. And by the way, that's boys and girls.
President refusing to call this Muslim extremism or Islamic extremism.
You know, that's a real touchy subject. I believe he's wrong, and others believe he's wrong. I believe the initial recruiting effort is a religious recruiting effort, because that's where you're going to get the commitment, the dedication, and people willing to give up their lives for that cause. I think once you're in it, you realize that it's more three-dimensional than just being a religious war. Then it becomes about power, it becomes about transcending people's thought processes and behavior into what they would like to see done.
So it starts off with recruitment, with religion, then turns to power once you get in the group.
Right.
Is that what one of your generals is saying?
Right. General Nagata, he's a two-star general, and he's the senior general, U.S. general in that area. In December, he was speaking in confidence, and the New York Times actually published what he had to say, and he made the comment of, you know, this is to try to understand ISIS and try to put a definition on what their cause is really takes a while to figure out. And as like an onion, as you peel layer and layer, you finally get to the heart of it. And it does start out as a religious deal. And when you do that, you can really gain a lot of trust from people, because they're thinking, just like one of the callers said, you know, in the name of God, Jehovah, you know, when these guys are saying in the name of Allah, and that is just all encompassing there.
Okay. Caller, go ahead. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to get through to the program.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that, you know, we have ISIS of terror, but yet we have gangs in Fresno, you know, and all down the valley, and they're recruiting your kids younger all the time, and they're committing drive-by shootings, killing innocent people, and killing their own. And that's been going on for a while, and it's all down the valley here, and in the whole country, actually. And Fresno's been trying to stop them. It's drier, and they can't seem to stop the gangs here in our country. How are they going to stop Isaac as a whole? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. That they're trying to stop other countries where we're here in our own towns with our policemen, probation officers, everything, and we can't seem to stop the gangs here. How are you going to stop gangs in other countries? I don't understand it.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Well, I think what we're doing with the relations with our soldiers overseas, you see pictures of them playing soccer with some of the youth there in the Middle East. That is going to carry a lot of weight later on. Over last week, we had a town hall meeting, and they had Margaret Mims and Chief Dyer and two others that were addressing, you know, these concerns. And one of the concerns that was brought up was someone who said, you know what, we need to start reaching these kids when they're really, really young. And that's what we're doing overseas. And there are efforts here trying to reach these at-risk kids.
ISIS is trying to get them young.
Exactly, and that's my point. ISIS knows the value of that, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll take another quick call. Caller, you're on the air. Quickly, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm listening to this guy. He's explaining the exact same thing that ISIS is doing. That, you know, we need to go after our kids and protect them. You know, that's absolutely correct. They don't want to stop gangs, number one. Jerry Dyer does not want to stop gangs. Number two, we got to look at things the way that really is happening.
Okay.
We're not even understanding where they're coming from. We're trying to understand them.
All right.
If you can't understand the thing, how are you going to deal with it?
Okay, thank you, caller.
And again, like I said, Major General Nagata, he is really making an effort to try to understand and bring this to the understanding of everybody else of what makes ISIS tick.
Got to take a quick break here on Connect with Me. We're back in just a moment with Dan Payne. And don't forget, the next guest will be Steve Brandau, City Councilman. We're back. Thomas Casagrande of 2020 Optometrics is our sponsor today. Back in a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Back here on the program, thanks to Dr. Thomas Casagrande for his sponsorship today. Hey, I want to move to Marie Harf. She's the State Department Deputy Spokesperson or Spokeswoman. She refuses to call ISIS Muslim, and she says we can't kill our way out of this war. Here's what she told CNN's Wolf Blitzer.
Well, absolutely, and I'm not the first person to say something like this. Military commanders that we've had throughout many years here fighting this war on terrorism have said the exact same thing, that in the short term, when there's a threat like ISIL, we will take direct military action against these terrorists. We have done that. We are doing that in Iraq and in Syria. But longer term, we have to look at how we combat the conditions that can lead people to turn to extremism. If you think about, you know, if there's a radical jihadi on the internet who's putting out hateful videos, that's powerful and dangerous, right? But if there are 10,000 men in a country who are willing to blow themselves up because of what that person says on the internet, that's much more dangerous. So how do you get at those 10,000 people? How do you get them not to pick up the AK-47 and instead do something more productive and positive with their life? That's what we're trying to get at this summit. looking at the long-term problem, not just the short-term one.
So you suggested that maybe if you find these young men jobs, they might not become terrorists, right?
Well, I think that's a gross oversimplification. What we've talked about is there are things like good governance in countries where if there is not good governance, it can create a vacuum and a space for terrorist organizations to recruit and get people to their cause. We've seen that in Libya. That's the perfect example right now, where there's a lack of governance. You've had young men attracted to this terrorist cause. Where there aren't other opportunities, we've seen this, in a number of places around the Middle East and around the world.
Okay, I had to play that about 20 times to just let it sink into my head that she says we can't kill our way out of this, and these young people need jobs and they won't join ISIS. What?
Yeah, I totally disagree with that. It's kind of like what Chief Dyer and Margaret Mims are dealing with right now. We can go to the youth of these gang members and we can try to change their way of thinking, but it's going to be a generation before that starts to surface. What about the people that are already there, committed to gang warfare, committed to ISIS, committed to killing Christians and Muslims and Sunnis? What are we going to do with those people? Just let them die off on their own of old age? And how many deaths are they going to be credited with in that lifetime? I don't mind going after the youth. I think that's a smart move. But we also owe it to the world, the free world, and our own people to take care of the threat right now.
All right, caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I said earlier that America should turn back to God, because we have a lot of these false religions now that we have allowed a lot of foreigners come in and bring their false religions into our nation, which people, they get tickled and they say, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that. But our United States was based on the Bible. And we have turned away from God, and this is his judgment on us. Our leaders around the nation should turn back and pray with all their heart to turn this nation back around.
Okay.
To its glory.
Thank you.
I think going on what he's saying, I would agree with him, except that when you're dealing with ISIS and you're dealing with some of these other groups, they tend to believe even more than we do, and they tend to act on their beliefs even more than we do. We're steps behind when it comes to displaying our beliefs and practicing what we preach. These guys have taken it to another level and have become very effective with it.
Unbelievable. Hey, another soundbite. Rudy Giuliani, once America's mayor of New York City, the former, says that the president of the United States is unpatriotic. He does not love his country. Listen.
That. Well, first of all, I'm not questioning his patriotism. He's a patriot, I'm sure. What I'm saying is that in his rhetoric, I very rarely hear him say the things that I used to hear Ronald Reagan say, the things I used to hear Bill Clinton say about how much he loves America. I do hear him criticize America much more often than other American presidents. And when it's not in the context of an overwhelming number of statements about the exceptionalism of America, it sounds like he's more of a critic than he is a supporter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, your comments.
I understand where Mr. Giuliani is coming from. I get that feeling a lot as well. It's hard.
How about the generals? How do they feel about it?
I was just at a conference with an enormous amount of generals last week, and it's unfortunate that the respect going both ways is not there.
Hey, roll the videotape. BuzzFeed, the president of the United States taking selfies and promoting himself and promoting Obamacare. This was just recently, within the last couple of weeks. Take a look at this video here. I don't know, do you think this is why some people do not have the same respect for this president as they had maybe for Bill Clinton, maybe Bush, maybe Reagan?
I think somebody's probably telling President Obama that he needs to show himself more as a human, that he has a whatever. You know, these guys, very seldom do they come up with these ideas on their own. They're constantly licking their finger and sticking it up in the air and seeing which way the wind is blowing. And I'm sure that there was a bunch of people who said, hey, you really got to get out there and just, you know, do something that's you know, uncharacteristic.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Quickly.
Question. During World War II, America bombed Japan to stop the war with Japan. Then, during the Kennedy administration, Kennedy threatened Russia to bomb them to stop them. Now, will that be a problem if this happened here in the United States this time of year, or would it cause a lot of problems with a lot of nations?
That's a great comment, and I've always wanted to answer that. The question is, you know, back in the day when we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that put an end to Japan's threat.
Should we do this now?
Should we do that now? The problem with that is back then Japan had control. There was an emperor, there was somebody, or there was somebody who could say, that's it, we're done. These groups like ISIS, Jihad, they don't have that type of leadership. Yeah. In fact, the reason why we have Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda and all these Taliban and everything is because people weren't doing enough, and so all these other groups sprouted up. Another problem is we have ISIS people here in the U.S. We have them in Britain. We have them in Australia. We have them all over the place. They're all over the place. So we bomb Syria or Libya, wherever the most concentration of ISIS people are. And what's to say that that doesn't unleash, you know, something here in the U.S. It's not that easy anymore.
Just a couple of minutes left here with Dan Payne, and I want to roll through these photos very quickly. It's of all these people that have been beheaded, not all of them, but some of them. The latest one, Libya, last week, a week ago, of course, and the Japanese journalist, let's not forget them. Kayla Mueller, who apparently was taken down in one of the U.S. raids, one of the bombings, and then the Jordanian pilot that was burned, Steve Sotloff, James Foley. Why do I bring these up? Because we can just roll through these very quickly, because I don't want people to forget.
That's right.
Dan, let's not forget these people that lost their lives, innocent people. And you know, that's James Foley right there.
Right.
The Japanese journalist, I don't know if we've seen, there's Kayla Mueller right there. She was not beheaded, apparently killed by one of the U.S. bombings by accident, of course. And there are the two Japanese, the poor journalists there that, oh my goodness. And the Jordanian pilot burned alive. Dan, we can't forget these people. I don't know. No. We quickly forget in this country. We forgot about 9/11 already almost.
And another reminder here, James Foley, Steve Sotloff, the Syrian troops, David Haynes, all these people were killed by a man that we have nicknamed Jihadi John, who has an English accent. They suspect he's from London. So,
all right, last call here before we change guest. And caller, quickly, go ahead. You're on with Dan Payne, our terrorism expert. Go ahead.
Yes, I think we should put a ransom on these guys, just like we do with criminals here in our local area. Put a ransom high enough so that we can get spies to go over there and spy them out, and then bring back the information where they're at, and they'll get paid for that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's quite the thought. Okay. You know, that almost exists already. Some of the snipers that we have ransoms on them. Some of the countries also have ransoms and rewards for knocking out certain snipers on their part. You know, so that kind of exists already. The only thing, it's not open to just anybody, you know, who has a raccoon hat and wants to go out there with a rifle and start shooting.
Dan Payne, always good to see you.
Always good to see you, John.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
And please come back again. I enjoy this conversation.
You got it.
I really do like it. All right, Dan Payne, our terrorism expert here on Connect with Me. We're glad he was able to come in. You'll see him again somewhere down the line. We're back with our second guest, Steve Brandau, and after this, time out and a word from Dr. Thomas Casagrande.
say perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Euronews, most watched news channel in Europe.
We get our speed from Mom and Dad. They do stuff super fast. And now they got this new kitchen, so they're even faster. So they can help us with our free throws.
The time-saving Frigidaire Gallery line with a quick preheat and smudge-proof stainless steel that resists fingerprints and cleans easily. It's mealtime in no time, from start to clean. Frigidaire Gallery.
Save more during Frigidaire Gallery bonus days when you buy 3 or more qualifying appliances. See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
It's almost time.
Now we'll find out once and for all about Clark Kent and Superman.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a TV show.
Yes, but who is he? What's his name?
He's Superman.
Golly, Clark, won't that be wonderful seeing Superman
Fighting a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and television the Me TV way.
No one can do the things that Superman does.
The adventures of Superman.
Now on Me TV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
You can find movies on over-the-air channel 13.3. Movies. Our name says it all.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high-efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Our thanks to Dan Payne, our thanks to Dr. Thomas Casagrande, and now on to other stuff. Last Thursday, Mayor Ashley Swearingen held a news conference right here in the city of Fresno, and she announced the fact that the city of Fresno was able to borrow or secure a loan for about $29.5 million, $195 million, what am I talking about, for 1.2% over 30 years. She said it would save the ratepayers more than $100 million during the lifetime of the loan, but she provided no proof of having secured that loan application. She did not provide the application as proof, and Doug Begum says it doesn't happen like that. It takes months to get the application. Swearingen claims the city needs that money to build a brand new water treatment plant on the east side of town, capture that surface water coming out of the Kings River, and to rebuild some of the aging pipes underground. Begum says it's for the building of 14 to 17 square miles of expansion, SEGA, Southeast Area growth area. And to build it, the mayor claims, they need more of your money. And so out of your pocket, here are the water rate increases over the next 5 years, although the mayor says the loan will lower these rates by some $3 a month. There will be breaks for low-income families. Live in our studio right now is Council Member Steve Brandau. He is here in the flesh, and by the way, he goes and sees Dr. Thomas Casagrande, the eye doctor. That's right, it's 2020 Optometrics. And Steve, you are here. When you were here on January the 18th, you said you were going to abstain your vote. Now you joined the mayor at this news conference last Thursday. You're changing now. You are voting in favor of the water rates. Why?
Okay, John, a little history. We've been at this coming up on 2 years now, and I was originally in favor of the plan. Fresno needs water. So I was originally in favor of it. What I did about 3 weeks ago in front of the water tower was I held a press conference and I said, I'm not ready to vote on this until I hear that we've got the best possible deal for the ratepayers. And so I called upon our state legislatures that deal with our area in Fresno, and I called upon our mayor to do more, to go to Sacramento and to find out if there's any other help that was available to us. And I was especially looking at the passage of the water bond that took place in November. So the result in the last 3 weeks, so what that is, that initiated a water summit, which we held in Fresno, and State Department leaders from Sacramento came to Fresno. They began to hear about our project, and they said, yeah, you know, there's some things that could apply to your project. And one of the biggest avenues of help is a low-interest loan. They were originally going to give us a $50 million low-interest loan, but when they heard about it, and they heard about the demand we were asking from them, they boosted it up to $195 million. And so the net result of the last 3 weeks of work, John, is through the life of this loan, we've saved our ratepayers, our taxpayers, $105 million that they would be paying to the project that now is going to be funded by Sacramento.
I talked to Doug Vagum. He says, where's the proof that that application exists, the loan application from the state? Because it takes months to get it. You can't just get it like that. It doesn't happen overnight. Do we have the loan application? Have you seen it?
Yeah, so City Council actually voted to submit the application. I believe it was last June. And then so that began the process that Mr. Vagum's talking about.
Okay.
That application that we voted on. And then they came back and said, well, we can loan you $50 million. But all they've really done is they've moved that target up. So they've said, okay, we realize Fresno's serious about this water infrastructure. So they've moved it up to $195 million. So now. So
you've seen the application?
Yeah, well, I voted on it. And we're going to vote on another application here in about a week, which is a second, and this is something I wanted to talk about, was a second opportunity to get more money from Sacramento. So I believe it's on Thursday, March 5th. We're going to be voting on a second application. And this one, the first one was for the treatment plant itself. The second one is about all the pipes. So we'll be voting on that out. Yeah.
Underground. Okay, so the application was turned in last June. Original price $50 million. Now the loan has been boosted to $195. It's the same application that you put in last June.
Well, I believe it is. You know, technically, John, I don't know. All I know is we held a summit in.
It could be a different application.
Hypothetically, I don't want to speak about something that I don't know about.
Okay.
And hypothetically give out bad information.
Okay.
So let me just say this: we held a water summit. Sacramento heard about our concerns.
Talking about recharge.
The
recharge meetings, or no?
No, separate from that.
Oh,
this is after
you're talking about the water. That's the water. The summit, water summit meetings are separate from the recharge meetings.
Yeah. The water summit meeting is a result of when I put the brakes on. I put the brakes on the project about 3 weeks ago. You had me on as your guest.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, January 18th.
Yeah, and then I put the brakes on, and then we held a water summit in Fresno. And Sacramento came to Fresno. They learned everything about our plan. Yeah. Okay. And they said, hey, we can boost this loan.
Let's take a call. Caller, quickly. Go ahead. You're on with Steve Brandau.
Yeah, Steve, you're like a slippery fish, bro. I mean, John twice now has asked you if you actually seen this contract, and you got one heck of a way of avoiding questions and turning this stuff. Have you actually seen the contract for the $190 million thing?
And I told you, no, I didn't. I mean, do you understand simple English? I said, no, I didn't. I haven't seen the contract.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
Thank you. Yeah, you saw the original contract that was for $50 million, which you guys signed off on in June, which has now been boosted to $195 as the loan. 1.2% is the interest over 30 years. The savings is about $105 million. And so, but you haven't seen the second application that has been filed.
I don't understand what the hang-up here is, John. The Sacramento is offering us $195 million. That's the facts. When we vote on this thing, they're going to kick in $195 million.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I mean...
No, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
So I don't understand. I mean, we're getting sidetracked on something here, a technical process.
I want to put up the council members, not that we've never seen them before, but I want to put up their pictures on the screen.
Sure.
Let's put them up there. There's the four. There you are, by the way. Nice photo, a nice jacket, by the way.
Thanks.
But I don't know how this vote's going to go now.
Right.
You know, originally I thought maybe you might vote against it, then you were going to abstain. Soria, I don't know. I thought she was going to vote against it. Now I'm not so sure. Baines is for the water rates, the hikes. Paul is. And change it to the next group there. I know Sal Quintero's been on here. He said he was going to vote against it. Now I don't know. Lee Brand is for it. Clint Olivier, not sure. I thought no on Clint, but who knows? How do you think the vote's going to go? Now you're voting yes.
Right. And so have you had Councilman Olivier on?
Not yet, but we're going to go after him, yeah.
Good. I haven't. I don't know how the vote's going to go either. However, I do know from just statements, different count. Yeah, like I said, this has been a 2-year process, so I've got to see all my colleagues make comments through over the year.
Yeah.
And except for Councilwoman Soria. Okay, I don't know where she is at on this vote, and I'm not really talking with her about it, but I think in general there's support for water infrastructure. I think most of them, like me, are concerned about how much is this going to cost. So with this additional help that we're getting from Sacramento, it wouldn't surprise me if it adds to the benefit of this particular plan, and so you might see it pass.
We got a call coming in. Go ahead, caller. Short on time here with Steve Brandau. Go ahead.
Yeah, Steve had said a second ago he doesn't understand what the whole holdup in Sacramento is. We don't need to rush anything because otherwise money gets funneled out all kinds of weird different directions. This has to be done correctly. We do need water structure. It is for the future of this town, but we've got to do it correctly. Look at the Grizzly Stadium and everything else.
Okay. Thank you.
We're not only messing up ourselves, but our great-grandkids. We've got to start looking for the future.
Okay. Thank you for the call. I appreciate you chiming in. We welcome all comments here, but I want to ask you a question before we have to go here. And that is Debbie Puchigan wrote a letter to Oliver Baines requesting to reduce the size of Sega, that general plant out there on the east side, saying, hey, growth out there won't take place for another 20 years. Let's reduce the size. That way you can reduce the hikes on the water rates. What about that?
Totally disagree. The surface water treatment plant and all the money that we're talking about has nothing to do with Sega.
Okay.
So there's a disconnect there. I know when you introduced the show, you talked about Doug Vagum and Sega. That's a pipe dream. I don't know exactly what type of pipe, but it's a pipe dream. It's not happening. This water treatment plant is not connected to Sega.
Not connected to the growth at all then, huh?
No, it's not. It's connected to serving Fresno where we sit right now.
Okay. Caller, you're on the air with Steve Brandau. Go ahead.
Hi, John. Hi, Doug.
Short on time, quickly.
This morning's Fresno Beast had a quote about Mayor Ashley Swearingen approaching the council to ask for 5 years of rate hikes to begin paying for the $429 million upgrade of the city's water system. Is this $195 million? Is that a part of this equation here? Is it $429 million less $195 million, or is this two separate issues? That's my question.
Thank you.
It's directly. So to the caller's point is, of the $429 million, $195 million, or right in that vicinity, is for the surface water treatment plant.
Okay.
So right now,
to capture the water from the Kings River.
Right, the plant itself. And then there's other money for pipes and other aspects of our big water infrastructure, but this loan of $195 is directly for the surface water treatment plant itself.
I'm glad you got the loan, but can we cut the water rate hikes maybe in half?
Well, here's the deal.
So we got about 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, so what this loan did is it cut it by 12%.
Okay.
Okay, not quite half, but it did cut it by 12%, or $3 per ratepayer per month for 30 years.
Yeah.
it's quite a substantial savings, right?
$105 million savings.
Yeah,
to the city.
To our citizens, yes.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't
good
know how
work.
this thing is gonna turn out Thursday. I don't think anybody knows. Even if we had the whole council here at one time, I don't think, except with the exception of yourself, we still don't know how it might go.
I agree. And so it's going to be interesting vote. If your listeners or your viewers would like to show up, it's Thursday about 5 o'clock at City Hall.
A plug for Thomas Casagrande.
He's
please.
my eye doctor, and Tom does a great job. Yep. Thank you, John.
You know you're always welcome here.
And I have a great time every time I come. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, I learned something new. Dr. Thomas Casagrande. Thank you, Steve. Come
Thank
back
you.
again.
Right
I enjoy having you.
Thank you, John.
Councilmember Steve Brandau was our guest today, along with Dan Payne. Thank you to both our guests and Dr. Thomas Casagrande, our sponsorship. And I got to get out there and see the doctor shortly. Have a great day. See you back here tomorrow with another edition of Connect with Me.
From a top-secret location, it's the Spies Who Love Me, bringing together MeTV's top super spies to fight evil at a memorable moment's notice. They're daring.
That's right.
Brave.
Now what are we gonna do?
The best we can.
Suave.
Does that apply to me, Oscar?
Possibly.
And smart.
Yellow finger in the gun trick.
Maxwell Smart.
MeTV Fresno.